Welcome to the World Cup Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my mate across the pond for the final time this World Cup. I'm sad to say, Dan, how are you today?
I'm good. It's the last dance, isn't it? I mean, I'm disappointed that all things have to come to an end, especially all good things, but I'm quite looking forward to some sleep on Monday. So it's kind of, yin and yang, but, we've still got plenty to discuss in this last episode. There's so much markets and so many subplots and stories to dissect in this final. So it's going to be fantastic, isn't it? So Why wait any further? Let's get cracking.
Yeah, let's get into it. I will say we also have a video up about the third place game, Croatia and Morocco. We had a few bets in there. Not quite the same excitement that I think you'll find. No, I'm kidding. We had plenty to talk about in that game. But this one's going to be a lot more goals. We like Croatia in the other one to be able to score the bulk of the goals in that one. In this one, we're looking at goals, I think, just in terms of there's too much talent on here on this pitch in this match of Argentina and France to not like some magic to be had, right, from some of these players. And I know we'll be talking about the two best players for each side as well in this one with Mbappe and the tireless and ageless one, Lionel Messi there. So looking at this three-way money line market, it is very, very interesting as it is plus 180 for Argentina to win in extra time. In regulation or with stoppage. France plus 180 to win in regulation with stoppage. So both the same odds there. And then the draw is only slightly better at plus 205. The odds makers seem to think that that's almost as likely as one of these teams to win in regulation. Very, very close, closer than we've seen definitely at any point in this World Cup, as these are the two teams that we are very excited to watch. So to win the cup in any fashion, Argentina minus 110, I would say that, and France minus 115. So if you wanted to do if you feel confident about one of them, but at that point you're losing the juice there, because once you get to extra time and you get to or even PKs, now it's a complete toss of the coin. Why would you take it at minus 110? Just get the odds for regulation. But that said, I would love to know what it is and where it is that you start with finding value in this one.
Okay, so I will reveal my 90-minute results later on. But first, I'm going to go for a parlay, which I don't think I've done during the tournament, but I've saved the best for last, because we know that Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe are not only gunning it out for the World Cup, they're also gunning it out for the Golden Boot. They both need a goal. They're on 5 each at the moment. If that is the tiebreaker, if say they don't score either of them on Sunday, the tiebreaker will go to Messi due to more assists. So Mbappe needs at least a goal to make things busy. Messi needs a goal to probably help Argentina win the World Cup. Therefore, why not back them both? A parlay, 1 goal at least each, plus 575. I think that is a fantastic price. When you consider what they've done thus far, it just creates a great subplot for the finals, isn't it? It's not just Argentina versus France. It's now Messi versus Mbappe in the sort of the shootout before an actual penalty shootout. Just let them go loose and see how many goals they can score. We only need 1 each to get nearly plus 600 on that. I think it's an absolute steal.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, obviously just 1 each for both of them. Even if it's not them thinking about the head-to-head Golden Boot, Messi knows what we've been saying as you've been predicting him scoring goals to the tune of like 2 in a row that you've gotten correct, because we all know that if they're going to, they've been lackluster outside of his magic that he's created essentially on offense in a way that we haven't seen from them, and they don't have the strength up top that we've seen from them in the past, and I think Messi knows that as well, and so he's definitely on the attack looking for goals in this one for, at the very least, the good fortune of his team, if not the individual success. He knows it's a win, as you mentioned a minute ago, is highly dependent upon him being able to put one into the back of the net and firing away. So love that. Kylian has been held scoreless for 2 games as well. He's got to be itching to get out there, and I think he's looking at the head-to-head stuff as the young guy with the gusto. I think he's the one looking to sort of outplay the veteran superstar and maybe best player of all time in Lionel Messi, more so than Messi cares about the youngster who's already, Messi's had his sort of flowers and is just looking for team success, I think, at this point. But Mbappe is definitely looking to get his right now, and I think he's super hungry and showed some frustration in that last game that we saw. As you tweeted out, he becomes less likable as we continue to watch him, and I agree with that, but he's still the best forward in the world right now. So I love that bet. Let's move on to another one and where you're looking next.
Okay, so I'm looking at the 3-way market now, and I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for the tie, a plus 200, plus 210, depending on what book you're using. Now, you mentioned the odds just a moment ago. There's literally nothing to split Argentina and France in terms of what the sportsbooks are saying. And when you look at the two teams and how they're playing, I can't see where the difference is. And I feel that if anyone can tell me and say Argentina are going to win or France are going to win, then they're going to have to make a really strong case as to why 90 minutes, because I just can't see the difference being split. Obviously, extra time penalties, it's blown wide open, but in that 90 minutes, you've got, as I say, the Messi and Mbappe war. You've also got Giroud in the French camp. You've got Julian Alvarez as the heir apparent for Argentina. He's going to be ready to support Messi. Then you've got the likes of Emi Martinez in the goal for Argentina, Hugo Lloris, his counterpart for France. Admittedly, it would have been lovely if Morocco reached the World Cup final. There would have been so much romance and, the real underdog, giant killing sort of story and all of that. But I feel that we deserve a real heavyweight World Cup final, and that's what we've got. 4 years ago, France-Croatia was no bad final. I mean, 6 goals, you're not going to moan at that, but didn't quite have that kind of toe-to-toe, two powerhouses really slugging it out. Now, sometimes there's the danger that they cancel each other out and it's a dour draw, 0-0. You think, oh, well, it hyped so much, it wanted to offer so much, but offered very little. I don't see that being the case. I feel it's going to be a tie, but a really entertaining tie, because when you consider that these two teams met in the round 16 4 years ago, we saw 7 goals that afternoon in a fascinating 4-3 win for the French. This time I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, and you can get that as well at plus 1800. Now, again, if we're looking at goals, we've already said that Messi and Mbappe are going to get 1 each. That's half the work done. And then it really boosts the odds. So I feel that there's quite easily goals in this one, and that kind of ties into the over-under and what picks you want from that one.
I love it. Yeah. And I mean, I think even the way we saw the French play Morocco in the semis there, they didn't get, Morocco didn't get one in there, but they had chances. And I would argue that a team with a bit more, strength up top would have put a few more chances away against the French team in that semifinal. Like I said, the way that they were sort of open up all over the back, and really in the middle of the pitch in the back is where they were open up, as Griezmann is running up all the time and looking to get up there. And if he's not getting back, then that's when you're pretty open at that point. It's susceptible, and nobody can really put those passes together, as we've seen this World Cup, like Argentina, or really just have Messi put something together that really gets them a quick run up the pitch. I love the idea of goals in this game. We all want it. We all deserve it, like you said. Interestingly, I would venture a guess that the total here, there's the reason that it might not be, that the odds makers here are giving us a lot of juice on overs, essentially, and predicting a few less goals, would be because prior to that 4-2 France-Croatia, outburst of goals from France, really, we saw Argentina play Germany 1-0 in 14, 2010 Spain 1-0, Italy 1-1 versus France. Before that 2-0 in 2002, right? So since 1998, there haven't been 3 goals scored in a World Cup, when France beat Brazil 3-0 in that one, as Brazil sort of just gave up at the end there, and Thierry Henry was unstoppable. So, but all the last 5-ish World Cups, that you've seen a few less goals when the powerhouses face each other in the finals like this. Things seem to be a little bit more temperamental, but I'm not buying that from either of these teams. They both are playing so aggressively. You've seen the pace, you've seen the desire for all of them to just go forward. Neither of these teams are playing, tiddlywinks in the back there with just passing between defenders. They're always looking to go forward, and so I really love the idea of that. So the goal, just list it out for me one more time with the game theory that there's at least that it's 2-2. The ways that you're looking for value are correct score, overs. How are you playing the sort of over? Because 2.5 over is plus 145, plus over 3.5 goals is plus 380. Right. So is there any value if you think it's 2-2 and going 3.5, or what are the ways that you're betting that 2-2 prediction to get the best value, essentially?
Okay, then. So obviously you're right that if it is 2-2, we're going to have over 3.5 goals. That is plus 380. So there is extra benefits with banking on that extra goal. But you might want to play it safe and say, do you know what? At least if I get over 2.5, at least I'm plus. So at least I've won something. So I guess that's to your own desire, how much risk you want to take yourself. I also like the look, though, of both teams to score in the second half, because usually you get more goals in the second half, and it might be a cagey first 45 minutes in the sense that no team can win the game in the first 45 minutes, but you can certainly lose it. If you go sort of 2-0 down, 3-0 down, you're really up against it. So it might be a sort of feeling out process where even just one goal scored, it might just sort of be a nice sort of set up for the second half. So if that is the case, we mentioned kind of the elastic nature of attack and how it can be end-to-end. We kind of saw that with France-Morocco. Morocco, yes, they didn't score, but it wasn't for the want of try, and they really were unfortunate not to get at least one goal. Now I'm thinking that if it is slightly cagey in the first 45 minutes, not to say it's going to be dour or defensive or like overload or anything like that, but I still feel the second half is going to be more this is it now. Last 45 minutes, we've got to go for it. So I'm taking that at plus 275. I think that's a great way to find a bit more value if you're ready and prepared to sort of just sit through the first 45 minutes and just see how it pans out.
So the likelihood that there's more goals scored in the second half there, that seems to be pretty high odds there. Pretty good juice on your money, considering that that would seem to be a logical theory for the finals, is that you come out a bit more tentative than you finish, because by the last 45, what do you have to lose? It's time to go to the wall to that point. I think the likelihood that a second goal is scored in the first half, if a goal is scored, is high, right? I do think if a goal is scored for one of these teams at any point in the first half, the other one is going to be looking to come even at half, similar to the way that Morocco was just peppering the French in the last roughly 15 minutes of that half, because they had gone down 1-0. They started to get their shape and feel good about themselves in a way that they were like really hungry for another one. I would say that the pace would pick up pretty quick if someone scores, but I don't think it happens in the first 5 minutes, like it did in the semi-final for France against Morocco. So next up then for you, anywhere else that you're finding value in this one outside of the goal scorers? The 2-2 tie, correct score at the end of regulation, plus 1,800. You've got to sprinkle some on that based on everything we're saying here. But where else are you looking?
Well, I guess you could also take the draw and over 2.5 goals if we're using that 2-all logic. That only gets you plus 1,400 though. So, you're asking to pretty much the same bet but getting less. So it's something to consider, but maybe if you want to go with the correct score, then go for that, because, let's say that it was 3-all in the World Cup final, then that bet of plus 1,400 would come good. So it gives you an extra score, but it's still rather unlikely. So maybe go for that 2-all. I just feel there's going to be loads of goals. I just think it's going to be a great final, because as you said, you kind of listed those previous, it's 1998, the 2002 to 2018 sample. And I just feel that, we've kind of been short on goals really, and I just don't feel that either of these sides are really going to be setting out to shut up shop. I don't feel they can, because of the attacking talent of the opposition. So we've gone for the bet builder, obviously. We've gone for sort of Messi and Mbappe in a parlay, so that's that. Maybe player cards, that could be something, because Argentina certainly aren't shy when it comes to discipline, so you can get sort of both teams to pick up a card is just under plus 100, so it's not a bad bet just to keep things interesting. You might want to add to a parlay as well, actually, just to beef things up. But really, it's a case of, who do you feel is going to win if it gets to extra time penalties? I'd go for an in-play as well, because that's where things will start to find a bit more value. So maybe scope out the 45 minutes and see where things are at before you sort of go all in with your bankroll. It's one of those kind of things where you can't really sort of chuck all your eggs into the basket straight away. I think it's going to be a lot of ebb and flow during the game. Maybe even as far as kind of draw half-time, draw full time. If you take the both halves, which you can get at where are we, plus 300. So you're not worrying about score. You literally just taking both ends of the match at 45 and 90 and saying it's a tie in both. So that just sort of squeezes up the tie, which was 210. If you're confident it's definitely going to end in a tie, and it might as well just be a half-time tie as well. So it just fattens it up a bit more.
Yeah, no, I love all of that, and I mean, look, he's given you his best bets. They've been hitting at a lovely rate. I even love that you played a bit safe with some bets, so that we can also go a little bit more balls to the wall with some of these other fun bets and get close to 200 to 20 to 1 and 25 to 1 on our money, and really feel good about the way that you bet goals being scored and these teams being even throughout the match, and the ebbs and flows will be fun. I think to your point, I don't see one of these teams blowing the other one out and pulling away enough. So if you do see a goal score here or there, look to be able to potentially bet live on things coming back closer to even and betting on the team who's down at that point. Either way, we've had a ton of fun with you guys this entire World Cup. That is to be sure. Dan does have his great articles on thelines.com, so make sure you go back and check those out. If you have been tailing him, as I have, you are up plus money on this World Cup within these games. So, Dan, any parting thoughts from the World Cup for us?
Well, it's just been an absolute blast. I mean, the tournament has been great. It's been great working with you almost every day, literally every day, really. We've had an absolute ball doing all of this. I hope that I've made the viewers some money as well. It's not all about what we think. If you're following the bets, then, congratulations, because you should be up as well. So I hope I've done some work for everyone around the world who's followed us. And if you want to get me a beer, no, I'm only joking. I don't do it for that. But yeah, it's been an absolute blast. And I hope we can sort of reconvene at some point, maybe over the New Year, Champions League, who knows. I'm selling myself now, but you know what I mean. We've got a great partnership going, so let's hopefully continue it, and more importantly, make us and the listeners and the viewers some more money.
That's what we're here to do and have fun. I think we've brought some fun about the game of football to the fans here. And like you said, I'm happy to continue on with some of these major tournaments, talking to you guys. I know that there's been plenty of money coming in on this World Cup, even in North America. Happy to see the American sports world is definitely supporting this, at least with some bets as well, which definitely makes you pay attention. So continue to follow along. We'll be back with you guys as soon as we have some more football to talk about. We'll let you know. And until we see you next, happy betting.